Good morning. Happy Wednesday to everyone. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Our word of the day is Lyceum. Lyceum is a literary institution, lecture hall, or teaching place. Sandra absorbed more knowledge from the lectures at the Lyceum than by just reading books on the same topics. So that's a story there. Now we go over the big story today. Inflation surprise. Prices were unchanged in May, defying expectations. CPI report shows. So that is the story with that one. And followed a 0.3% increase in April. And CPI advanced 3.3% after increasing to 3.4% in May. So that is the story there. The markets are rallying on that. So we'll take a look at the S&P 500 heat map. Microsoft is up 1.32%. Apple is up 4.14%, and NVIDIA is up over 4%. We'll take a look at the Fangu and ETF. I have that in one of the accounts I manage, and it is doing mightily. I did take some profits when it got up to 24% return and kept the rest. So we got biotech or drug healthcare down, consumer defense down, communication services pretty flat. Industrials are a mixed bag. Real estate is up. Energy is down. Financial is kind of a mixed bag as well. And basic materials is up. Tesla is up 5%. Get over that one. And Home Depot is up nearly 3%. So that's a look at our heat map. So if you are concerned about a hard landing or inflation or a lot of other things that could cause your hard-earned money you spent a lifetime building up your retirement with, this is something you might want to look at to roll over your funds. You never have to worry about losing money, but you still can be in the market. When the market goes up, you make money. And it beats index investing by about 5%. And currently, their bonuses are being paid out 25 to 45%. If you want to learn more about that, feel free to reach out to me. And now let's go to our charts. ARM Holding is working on a base. Look at this base. This is a beautiful Darvis base. I'm not sure if you know Nicholas Darvis in the 1950s, created about $2 million just on trading this base. He based it on the technicals, and then he worked on fundamentals. So this is a box. And Nicholas said he was a dancer, only got his reports and Barron's magazine sent to the hotel where he was dancing at. So he found out that stocks would oscillate within this box, and he would only buy it when it broke out of this box. So that is the story. This is ARM Holding. You look at it at a weekly chart, shows the big range came down here. And so right now it's working on the right side of its base. You could have bought when it went above the 20-day moving average and continued moving higher if you are not averse to risk. So that is the story. Let us go to the dollar index. Dollar index gaps down. Look at that fall. Wow. That is truly amazing. Silver, I would think, would be going up. And it is. It gaps up, clears the 20 and 10-day moving average. Gold as well is moving up, not as strong as silver. Copper index gapping up, definitely not as strong as silver. Let's look at the leaders in copper mining. Tried to move higher and was turned away by its 50-day moving average. Arrow Copper Mining Canada is trying to clear the 3 moving averages right there. Look at Freeport McMoran. Got turned away. Southern Copper. So Arrow looked a little better than all of those. So that is a story there. Let's take a look at the bond yield. Sure, they're falling. Look at that. Just dive through the 200-day moving average. Move my picture so we can see what it's trading at. It's 4.25% right now. And the 20-year is diving as well. Look at that huge gap down there, down at 3.36%. Look at the VIX. Make sure that's diving as well. Yes, sirree. Not sure if this was a gap. No, I guess this was covered over here, but it is definitely diving down to 12.34. S&P 500 gapping up over here as it continues on this pullback, on this bounce back. That would have been a good day if you wanted to add this to your portfolio. RSP. That's healthy. Got a gap up on the RSP, equal weight in the S&P 500. Take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ has been leading index and it gaps out of the buy area. Big gap up there, up nearly 1.5%. And the equal weighted NASDAQ taking out the big cap tech stocks, gaps up, gets pretty close to the buy area. It's pretty healthy. Take a look at small caps. They should be driving forward, and they are. They got a big gap up here. Wow, look at that, almost 3% up today. As we keep saying, the NASDAQ has not been able to get a new high for 2.5 years. If you, the small cap, if you believe it's going to go in, this might be something you want to trade in. This is 3 times the move of the TN, or the IWM, or the Russell Small Cap Index. And this, you believe it's going to go down. But this is a bear. You can see this gap down on today's news. Look at the Dow Jones, which has been a laggard, and all the indexes popped up and then sold off. So that is the story there. Let's go through the top 10% movers today. Bring this up a little bit. Rentokil initial ADR provides pest control, hygiene, and protective enhances services, and huge gap up today. Wow, look at that move. Look at this blue bar, up 14%. ESI, Element Solutions, up big time today. Earnings aren't for 42 days, but it is up nearly 12%. I believe this is CASY Stores, General Stores. Earnings are up 57%, and the stock just is flying up nearly, it's up 17.5%. RNA, this was on our list yesterday, big gap up. So kind of broke out here, and then it is just soaring today, up 30%. Open this box over here, see what kind of news. Does it look? Let's see, what does this say? This, open this up. study of a treatment for a rare form of muscular dystrophy. And condition mutations in gene called DUX4 cause loss of muscle function. So this is the reason for that really soaring today. On to Zillow. Zillow gapping up and rising up 13%. This is the other Zillow traded stock. I would think it's about the same. And Oracle, they missed their earnings, but they talked about moving into AI and what they're going to do on their conference call. So that is why this is kind of streaking forward. This is up over 12%. Now let us go under the curves to see what the different sectors of the S&P 500 are doing. First, let's go to the software sector. Gapping up, has been in a long downturn. This is a double bottom. If it clears right here, this would definitely be a buy. It's gapped up above the 50 days, so might be interesting instead of having to dig into Microsoft, HubSpot, ServiceNow. This might be a better play for you. This is the financials. Still having a little trouble here. Tried to bounce up and hit its head on the 10 and 20-day moving average and reversed. Energy, which is down today. Kind of diving, tried to move up to the 20-day, got turned away. Oil prices. Actually, oil prices are moving up. It's pretty interesting that energy is going down. Looked at natural gas prices for a while. Looks like they cleared the 200 and got a little bit of a pullback. Communications. Google and Meta tried to move higher and then sold off. Technology. Wow, look at that move. So once it cleared the 10-day here, I would say that would have been a buy. It just pulled back to the 20-day. Actually pulled back to the 50-day here on this bounce, could have been a buy as well. If you owned it, this is where you could add. And this is definitely a breakout over here, and it is just continuing higher. Look at utilities. They're pulling back a little bit. Real estate should be moving up on the bond yield, dropping. Big gap up here. Home builders should be doing the same. They are. Huge gap up here. DHI, Lennar, they're both up. Dream Finders was a big mover in the past. Smith Douglas Homes, recent IPO. Got a big gap up, getting back to its 20-day moving average. Let's see, building supplies, gapping up here. Minings and metals, which we saw up, got a gap up and on its low right at the moment. See what Steel Dynamics is doing. Trying to move higher and then sold off. US Steel, not doing too much. So we look at the FANG-U and look at that move. That is impressive. We bought this right over here. Sold it with, not yesterday, but I think it was right in here, about 24% profit. And we'll have to see what that is doing today. So that is a look there. And let's see what we are currently doing. We did say we sold MicroStrategy. We got up early this morning, bought it back on the move. We'll see if we can, let's just take a look at Bitcoin first. Got a nice gap up here, pull back to the 50-day, gapped up, and we actually added this into our Roth IRA. Do what Ethereum did. Got a nice gap up on Ethereum, pull back to its 20-day, still holding this gap up. The gap up rule is once it gaps up, if it holds above that low, you can continue to hold. MicroStrategy is at 1682. I believe we bought it at 1638 this morning, so it's doing well. You may add if it gets above this area. 72 is kind of like the breakout area. 72,000 on Bitcoin. We took off of our covered calls on NVIDIA when it was at 125, so it continues to rise. I believe CASY Wood believes this is going to 260. So Elf, Beauty, along with this small cap's got a nice move up here. Looks like it's getting ready to break out. We continue to hold the 5 call options we bought at 160. 4 shift 4 payments did move up to 74 and then sold off. I guess it got up, yeah, 74.94. We did put on the 75 call option on our 70 call. So we got a 70-75 call spread. And then we have the other 2 options we bought at 62.50. So story there. Keep your brothers in check. Dutch Brothers Coffee. Bought it at 34.55 on the second time. The first time we bought it was right over here on the gap up, moved up here, and then we had a stop here, hit our stop, and we decided to go back in, bought the $36 call, 3 of them. We sold 1 of them for 124% gain, kept the other 2, and we have 300 shares at about at 34.55. So that continues to do well. Let's go to aerospace. So we had a little bit of a consolidation here. Nice, pretty flat trading. FTAI, which we continue to hold. The one we did get out of, Howmet. Take a look at that. It's bouncing off of the 20-day right here. It's not doing anything. We just saw it get into the profit zone, so we decided to take our profit there. AeroVironment kind of broke out of this shelf-like pattern, bounced off of the 10-day moving average, and continues up today. Lower. This is an IPO we got into right about here. And then we sold the 65 covered call up here. So this is because it continues to do well. I guess we had forgotten to buy IBIT, so we just put in the trade right now. Let's take a look in food area, Cava Mediterranean Grill. So it pulled back to the 20-day here, not quite the 20-day, but got close. It's just moving up again, up over 90. Looked at lore. Here's the other IPO that we put in a family account. We bought it right about here. So it's working on the IPO base. IPO bases are 16 to 25 days in length. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's right about that time. Comfortable. We'll just see if this breaks out. This is in diversified insurance. I'm sure Weatherford is pulling back today. Tried to move up higher. It's pulling back a little bit. This other IPO, just take a look at this one. This is gap down. So we got a couple of gaps to fill here. And a huge move right up here. So let us see what else we got in our portfolio. CrowdStrike. About the 320 option right over here. We thought we had been totally wrong. Waited till the earnings came out and we got a big pop here. And then when it was added to the S&P 500, got another pop, and the 52-week high estimate is 435, I believe, by Wells Fargo. We have NTAP. NTAP, we bought at around 110, and it just keeps on moving up, getting closer to the profit zone here. And then the one that we bought yesterday, this is Apollo Global Management. The annuity that we work with is in part of this company, so that's why I decided to buy this. Actually bought it at a 111, and I believe we sold it at 115, and then just got back into it yesterday. Tried to break out, pulled back to the 50-day moving average. Really had a strong bounce on Thursday, pulled back on Friday. Actually pulled back yesterday. Had a strong bounce on Friday, pulled back yesterday to the 10-day, and that's where we added it at 117, 116.98, I believe. And it's up to 119 today. So that's a look at the market today. This has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. It's your responsibility to do your own due diligence. If you want to do something similar to us, that's definitely your options, but that's your full responsibility. So hope everybody has a great day. Go out there and keep working on your goals and your activities. And if you have any comments or questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to us. And in the meantime, have a great week.